So obviously there's ways to be profitable while being polarizing. So I don't think that if you do something that necessarily alienates, in theory, 50% of your audience because they disagree with you, it doesn't mean they're turning you off necessarily.
Well, let me just say that I don't disagree with you about Colin Kaepernick. In this particular situation where he says there's limited upside, this is not someone taking a position on an issue. This is not something they truly believe in. It's an attempt to be flip, and it can't help but be detrimental to both their brand and the people they work for.
Let's go through another one. I mentioned I was going to get to your buddy, Clay Travis. Scott needs a bathroom break. So here's the situation, guys. In November, and if you guys follow Clay, I mean, he's an outstanding follower. You either love him or hate him, but he always is putting stuff out there that gets under your skin and makes you react. So in November, Clay tweets out, this is back when Tennessee's looking for a new head coach, and they're talking about Greg Schiano being the next guy. And Clay tweets out, only way to stop the Schiano hire is a massive social media revolt. Tag at John Curry and tell him this hire is unacceptable. Deluge now, disastrous and unacceptable hire for Tennessee. Seems pretty fair, right? 1 hour later, Clay is back on social media and says, desperate times call for desperate measures. Make his phone blow up and voice your displeasure. Puts out John Curry's cell phone, office number, and email. Now, if you're a Tennessee football fan who doesn't want Greg Schiano, you love this guy. Because guess what? Greg Schiano didn't get that job. John Curry's no longer employed. If you go back to some things we talked about on the last panel about not getting personal, that's extremely personal. But so it comes down to, and there's a gray area here. I'm curious, as the guy who's working with them that day, obviously you got a ton of reaction, I'm sure. What's that day like and how do you handle it?
So what I'll say at first is I love Clay. I love being his boss. Very accountable, very accessible. We have very honest, frank conversations. And frankly, I like giving him feedback more than a lot of my talent because he is an adult and he can take it. He doesn't point the finger, duck responsibility. I can be very honest, and I respect that greatly about him. I love that he has very strong opinions. That's what this business is, to Mitch's point earlier. I think he's a fascinating talent. I think he's got strong opinions and incredibly strong following. Now, in this case here, I love that he took a strong stance. I did think he went too far by posting a guy's cell phone and his business card. And I told him that. Now, what we need to keep in mind, he did not do this on the air that I represent, on the radio show. He did not give the cell phone number there. He did this on social media. Now, that's an extension of his brand. I only have so much control of his personal Twitter feed. Now, I mentioned earlier, if you look at Clay's Twitter feed, it doesn't say Fox anywhere in it. Now, it says Outkick, and we've had those conversations over time. That's not to be blogged or Facebook. That's very internal. But because he's operated in certain ways on social media, the brand, we need to protect the brand from it. Now, with that, I would hire Clay again. I think he's fantastic. I don't think this was his classiest look. Now, he approached it from a fan's point of view, and obviously he won here. The guy did not get hired. Right. The AD lost his job. I think most of the fan base is now happier as a result of, what's taken place and who the new coach is. Regardless of that, yeah, I do think